Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast, and now game 2 I believe in this series. We have Naama spawning as the red Terran player once again versus nAni spawning as the yellow Protoss. So Protoss versus Terran this time in the Delta Quadrant. If you didn't watch game 1, game 1 was a really nice back and forth game on Blistering Sands. Not going to tell you who won. So yeah, go ahead and just watch that game. nAni spawning as a yellow Protoss player here at the 5 o'clock position. Naama spawning as the red Terran. Based upon these positions, I would say that nAni has a little bit of an advantage, more so than if it was cross spawns or if nAni has spawned over here. But this is the Delta Quadrant, and the Delta Quadrant does generally lend itself towards Terran. It's just because of the wide open spaces that are available for Banshees to try to do hit and run tactics. We saw that Naama was pretty successful with those hit and run tactics on Blistering Sands. So we'll see if he'll try to continue to use that one particular strategy, or if he'll even try to change it up. Now, one of the benefits that the Protoss player nAni can use, one of the benefits that nAni can use in this particular matchup is that nAni can try and go for Void Rays. Void Rays are very strong on this map, as these destructible rocks here and here allow them to almost always be fully charged. Fully charged Void Rays deal significantly more damage. I believe it's about 60% more damage when they're fully charged versus not fully charged. So that damage does rack up very quickly, especially when you consider the attack rate on a Void Ray. I believe the attack rate on a Void Ray is the same speed as a stimmed Marine. We now see the probe was trying to get in some damage over here on some of those SCVs. One Marine now being trained up. No tech lab down just quite yet. So Naama may be trying to go for a reactor. That would be a pretty safe call, especially if there is double gas. There is not double gas just quite yet. nAni pretty much running off of one gas so far. He doesn't want to pull any additional probes off of those minerals until he has to, as early in the game you're really more mineral locked, or you really need more minerals than anything else. But now in comes a bunker, so Naama throwing down a very interesting bunker early in this game already, and now those probes are going to come in and get some damage in, and now SCV tries to run away, will be able to escape, and now running around and trying to run home. A Zealot will be popping out, but this is having the effect, I believe, that Naama wants, and that is to force nAni in order to pull some probes off and make sure that that bunker didn't get up. So the amount of minerals lost for nAni probably higher, just because he had to pull 4 probes off the mineral line rather than Naama canceling that one bunker. One Marine or 2 Marines now on the move. We do see a bunker coming into play here. There is a tech lab already down, so interesting choice that there is already a tech lab. Naama may lift this off and try to place down a factory here in just a moment, since there is no research just quite yet. Or is he going to train yeah, he's going to lift it off, now train a reactor. He will be able to get a starport here in just a moment, and I believe the timing will be pretty perfect in terms of how many minerals he will have. Reactor now going down as well, and making sure that he's able to macro up enough units, and there's that starport. So Naama is definitely going for Banshees. Back over here, we also see another tech lab, so he may be going for uncloaked Banshees. Uncloaked Banshees are used more as a harassment. With only one uncloaked Banshee, that the Banshee window of opportunity to attack is much smaller, as nAni doesn't need an observer nearby in order to spot it and deal damage. Back over here, that starport will be completed up in just a second. We do see a siege tank coming out as well. And I like this play by Naama the more I think about it. Siege tanks are very strong counters against stalkers in particular, even outside of siege mode. They deal damage, 25 damage per attack. They attack relatively quickly, almost 1 damage per, or 1 round of attack per second. So that is very high indeed, almost the same amount of damage as a Void Ray fully charged. I think it's almost 25 damage per second. Back over here, we still see some Zealots and Stalkers down on the ground. 1 sentry here as well. Siege tank is out, and now we see another the factory once again lifting off. So are we going for double starports? That is a little bit of a surprise. I'm not sure what Naama really is trying to do at this stage. We do see a Banshee now. Banshee is now currently being trained. 1 observer is in the air, and that observer will spot this Banshee, and now a tech lab not being used for anything at all. and that Banshee is now on the move. We should be getting a Raven in just a second for that energy. A supply depot currently supply locking, or Naama currently supply locked, unable to train up that Raven right now. But yeah, that Raven will be joining in the air. Back over here in the base of nAni, nAni currently getting an Immortal up. Immortals, obviously strong counters against siege tanks, especially if those Immortals have shields. Immortals have a lot more hit points than siege tanks. But now the story of the day is going to be this Banshee now trying to get some more harassment and able to get 1 kill. Will it be able to get 2? It does not look like it, as 2 stalkers are able to come in and get some damage and shoo it away. There is 1 SCV on patrol here, so that 1 SCV could repair up this 1 Banshee and then allow that Banshee to come in and fight another day. Double bunker still on this front door. Raven is currently being trained. A second siege tank is now currently trying to be trained up as well, but until that command center is done, he is going to be supply locked. Naama not going to really be able to do all too much about that. That Banshee didn't get any additional kills and now just trying to return home. But now we have Zealots and Immortals with a couple of sentries. I don't see a probe here, so there's not going to be any proxy pylon anywhere in play, as nAni now warps in a Nexus here. We are going to see perhaps the Immortals try to test the waters and walk up this ramp and taking a lot of damage, but in comes that Guardian Shield, and that Guardian Shield really reducing the amount of damage that those Zealots are taking. SCVs trying to come off the middle line. Oh, very nice force fields. Naama going to be able to clean up and deal a lot of damage with this one particular aggressive play. Siege Tank's now trying to pull back. Immortal trying to get some damage in, and down goes 1 Immortal for an exchange of 1 Siege Tank there. But things are not looking good for Naama at all. Simply allowing himself to lose a lot of units and being forced to pull back with a lot of SCVs. There is 1 Marauder in that group, and that is it. But with the sheer number of SCVs, those SCVs could have gotten a decent surround on those sentries that do not have enough energy for force fields. Very, very, very well played by nAni. Naama now making its way over back into the base, perhaps trying to look to deal more damage, but I believe Naama is not going to get any mileage or that many more kills out of this one particular Banshee. That Banshee just sitting in space, wants to try to get some damage in, gonna come in, perhaps gets 2 or 3 rounds of attack, and now in comes the Stalker getting some damage, getting underneath that Banshee. The Banshee, however, down to 10 hit points, and oh, just out of range and able to survive. So very, very low hit point Banshee now running all the way home in order to live and fight another day. We can see that the Banshee gonna be sitting off in that position there. Zealots, sentries, stalkers, and Immortals once again on the move, and Naama is in serious trouble. He cannot really rely on the Marines to hold that front door anymore, especially since there are so many sentries and Zealots. Zealots having 3 armor, reducing the amount of damage significantly. Oh, Marines now trying to run back up that ramp. We can see some damage was dealt. Is that a ghost? No, that's a... I believe that's just a Marine, yeah. A Marine was taken down there, and more Marines just being left on the battlefield. 1 observer still on patrol, 1 Marine making sure that there isn't a proxy pylon in the back door, and this 1 Banshee giving sight onto this set of destructible rocks here. Immortals, Zealots now guarding the natural expansion location, making sure that the economic lead is in fact his. Taking a look back over here, we can see that Naama lost a lot of his harvesters. Taking a look at the unit count, 35 harvesters, or where all his harvesters, oh, in transition. Okay, so that was the reason why his harvester count was so low for a while, or his minerals a minute were so low. He was transferring him to this base. Naama now has a decent sized army sitting at his natural expansion, especially with those bunkers in play. He should be able to fend off any aggressive attack by nAni. nAni will have to try to carefully calculate what he wants to do with this attack there. There are 2 siege tanks, a couple marauders. Once he gets a 3rd siege tank into that mix, that Guardian Shield will not matter nearly as much, as the Guardian Shield only reduces the amount of damage that the siege tanks deal by, only 2 damage from 50 down to 48, as opposed from 6 down to 4 with a very, very fast attack speed like those Marines. A medevac now coming around the far side, perhaps to try to get some damage into this this location here. Production wise, we see the extended thermal lance range medevac about to drop into the base. nAni does not see any of those Marines currently dropping in. We do see they do have that combat shield, and now in come the Marines. So the Marines are just going to simply run straight into the base here and getting some damage across a lot of those probes. The probes are running for their lives, but they are currently trapped over here. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Stalkers now coming in. Probes just doing Probes doing a horrible job of trying to run away from those Marines, and many of them were taken down. And a very, very effective drop coming in from Naama. 38 probes compared to 43 now, and wow, that was a very, very heavy hit, very, very effective drop. Those Marines are not even upgraded at all, but were able to get a lot of damage in early on. We can see that there are now Vikings in the air, but with 4 Vikings in the air, is it going to be enough to deal with the Colossus that are still in production? Once you get up to 4 Colossus, you really need to be able to almost 2-shot many of those units. And now Marines trying to come back in once again, perhaps going after the Robotics Bay. Yeah, the Robotics Bay now going to get shot down. And once that Robotics Bay gets taken down, no more Colossus. That is going to be a real downer, but those Marines don't care. Oh, quickly getting picked back up. Colossus now trying to give chase, will not be able to chase down that medevac, as it cannot attack the air. No Phoenixes nearby, and the medevac simply going to drop into this location here. But gonna get too close to that 1 photon cannon. No, not getting too close. We can see that the 1 photon cannon here is already taken down, and now more damage is being dealt with. The main battle over here, bunkers now trying to be placed down. Vikings in the air, Marines and siege tanks battling it out, and now nAni taking this opportunity. Naama did not have enough forces to really push out, and losing a lot of those units out of position there. 3 Colossus, one of them even on hiatus, not giving chase. Marauders and Marines once again coming back in. There's another Guardian Shield. Not enough siege tanks. Vikings trying to deal damage towards those Colossus. Colossus have 3 armor if under the cover of this 1 Guardian Shield there. And now nicely done. Stalkers able to finish off the rest of the Vikings. And Naama says GG. So Naama losing 2-0 to nAni here on Delta Quadrant. Really, really well played. I liked Naama's play on that drop, but I think what really happened in that fight was that Naama had banked on nAni to overreact to that drop and try to move some of his units home. And by moving some of his units home, he was hoping that he could set up siege tanks and bunkers here and give a very, very warm welcome to nAni's units when they try to return and establish position. But that never really came about. nAni never overreacted to that push, and when Naama moved in, he moved straight into a group of Stalkers, a 0-0 upgrade with extended thermal lance range Colossus, and that just was too much. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this best of 3 series between Naama and nAni.